It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. We missed you. And now you're back here
Good,
again with G and I. Thank you, really, for staying there. World Glaucoma Week is observed annually between the 10th and the 16th of March. Now, when it comes to glaucoma, the sneak thief of sight is what it's called. Lack of awareness may cause severe issues that could even lead to permanent vision loss. And this morning, we're joined by specialist ophthalmologist Dr. Damon McCloonan to educate us about this disease. If you only heard about glaucoma in the movies, right? You only heard them say, I got glaucoma, that's why. There's actually something more to it, and I want you to focus in because this is very serious and you need the facts. So, Doc, thank you.
Have you ever had an American patient before?
Come on.
We do get some swallows that come through over the summer, yeah?
That's the thing. So the reason why I say this is that it's only in the movies where I think that South Africans have had like a proper connection to it, because there'd always be some sort of contraband and the excuse would be, I got that stuff because I got glaucoma. And I think there's so much more to it, because this is, in my circle, a lot more people are actually going to get treated for glaucoma.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a reason.
I mean, as you were saying earlier, it's true. I mean, as we get older, more and more people will start becoming diagnosed. Like, oh, but I've always been fine. And that's why it's called the sneak thief of sight.
Yes.
Because you're not aware that it's happening, and it comes on very gradually, and it's painless. And you only really become aware once you've lost a significant amount of vision, because it causes a slow vision loss from the outside in. So that's why it's very important that you actually get checked for glaucoma rather than waiting until it's too late.
Yeah.
We know that the eye, from a cellular base, is refreshing itself often. It's something that is so vital that we often don't think about it. We don't think that this is one of the most important elements of our kind of sensory body. When we lose sight, though, it has a massive implication. When we talk about gradually losing our sight, what's actually happening within that process? What is the damage done, and what are the potential repercussions?
Yeah, well, that's one of the great things about my field is people take their eyes seriously, you know. So when you do start noticing a problem, people generally are very motivated to try and sort it out. So with glaucoma specifically, what's actually happening in its simplest form is your eye's like a ball. It pumps itself up to a certain pressure, and then slowly that fluid that's being produced internally is released through a drainage system. If there's a blockage in that drainage system due to various factors, then the pressure keeps building up. And then what happens is the blood flow and the nutrient flow can't come into the nerve at the back. And that nerve, the optic nerve, is basically the cable that takes all the information to your brain. And as you said, most cells can regenerate themselves, but unfortunately the optic nerve is basically part of our brain, and it can't regenerate. So once damage is done, it's permanent.
The infrastructure.
Well, this is why we're having this conversation. Now, let's talk about identifying glaucoma and some of the risk factors as well. You said it's painless, which means, you know, what are your options in terms of saying, like, hey, I need to get this checked out? I think this is an important question, because so many people perhaps are leaving this too late.
Yeah. It's funny, you said the Powerball winning was 76 million rand.
That's correct.
That's the exact amount of people that are estimated to have glaucoma worldwide. 76 million people, yeah.
What?
Quite serendipitous. But yeah, so, and if you look in the South African setting, about 5% of people over the age of 40 are estimated to have glaucoma, and less than half of them are aware of it. So if you have any risk factors, being older, over the age of 40, family history of glaucoma, which puts you at a 10 times higher risk, or if you are on any cortisone medications, or if you're very short-sighted or very far-sighted, and African patients as well are at very high risk for glaucoma compared to non-African patients as well. You should get screened. That's the reality of it.
It feels like I'm just getting older, and my eyesight's getting worse.
Crazy feeling, eh?
Yeah, and I think that's often what happens is we just kind of chalk it up. Okay, well, I'm hitting 30. Okay, I'm hitting 40. Okay, I'm hitting 50. It must just be part of that journey. Can you halt it? Can you fix it?
So, I mean, if you look at vision in general, patients will often say, it's just because I'm getting older, that's why I'm losing sight. And I say, no, there's a physiological or mechanical reason, and most of the time we can fix it. The problem with glaucoma is that you can't undo damage that's been done, okay? So you're very seldom aware of it until there's significant damage done, because it's, like I say, in your peripheral field. So you might find things like you don't notice road signs as easily as before, you can't identify things in the shops as quickly as you did before, and those are the kind of earlier signs. And then once your visual field defects it's amazing, your brain fills them in for you. So you think you can see. But it's kind of filling in the blanks for you, and that's why only once you kind of get down to tunnel vision do people really become aware, hang on, you know, my visual field is totally gone. And the last thing to go is your central vision, fortunately, so people often can still sort of function, but they struggle with activities like driving and sort of being in busy areas.
Doc, thank you so much. We have a part 2, which is wonderful. So if you have any questions around glaucoma, please ask 063 40088863. We'd love to answer your questions, but it is World Glaucoma Week, and I think it's important for you to be informed.
Right,
as you can see right over there, uniting for a glaucoma-free world. It's possible with information, and we have it in oodles right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. It is a Health Tuesday on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Let's see if we can make you feel a little better this morning about something that is quite serious. We are continuing our conversation on World Glaucoma Week, and we are joined by Dr. Damon McClunan, a specialist ophthalmologist who has made it his life's purpose to help as many in this space. So we're going to delve a little deeper into, first of all, understanding glaucoma, how we get tested, and what we can do about it.
It's very, very important stuff. Now, when we chatted the first time, of course, we set the scene, and now we need to talk about some of the misconceptions of glaucoma. I told you that movies, you know, there's always some sort of contraband involved, and somebody saying, no, I got glaucoma, that's why I got that.
It's not a free pass.
Cops. But I think that's one of the misconceptions I've heard as well. This is a very serious type of thing that we have to look at and really focus on. This is why we're having this conversation. But what are the misconceptions? I mean, one that I hear in my circle is that, am I going to go blind?
Yeah. Look, the unfortunate reality is that's not a misconception. Glaucoma is still the leading cause of irreversible blindness worldwide. You know, and even with access to the best treatments, there is still a risk of going blind.
Okay.
So the sooner you pick it up and the sooner you get on top of it, the better. But with regards to the misconceptions, I mean, on the lighter side, yes, a lot of patients do ask whether marijuana treats glaucoma and whether they can use it preventatively, and I say no. It does actually lower the pressure in your eye, so that's why there's this idea around it, but only for a very short period of time. So unless you plan to be stoned 24/7, and it's only a very small pressure-lowering effect, so we have much more powerful and better ways of treating glaucoma. So some of the misconceptions are that, you know, your eye becomes red and painful, and you know when you've got glaucoma. That's in a very rare type of glaucoma called acute close-angle glaucoma. So generally, it's painless, and you're not aware that it's happening. Or that the eye changes color, the eye goes white. That's more what we see with cataract, okay? So that's another common misconception. But otherwise, I think there's more sort of ignorance than there are misconceptions.
For sure. It's one of those things that's staring us right in the face, excuse the pun, but it's so prevalent that you often, these kind of fly under the radar in that sense.
Exactly.
You speak to many other treatment options available right now. I think we've entered the great age of data sharing, which is amazing, and it feels this is like within the medical space, we are moving much faster than we ever have. But this is one of those that there is no permanent treatment for. So how do we approach it? How do you preserve, I suppose, the eyesight for as long as possible? What does treatment look like?
Yeah, so basically you just, like I said, you can't bring back damage that's been done. You can only prevent further damage. So you basically want to slow down the rate of progression as much as possible by controlling your intraocular pressure. And we've got various ways to do that. So the first-line treatments are generally laser therapy. So either, like I said, it's an imbalance between the amount of fluid being produced or the amount of fluid that's being drained. So we have laser that can either reduce the amount of fluid being produced or open up the drainage system. We have treatments in the form of drops that you can put in your eyes, which you have to use sort of every day for the rest of your life. And there's 4 different classes of medications available here in South Africa. And then if those first-line treatments fail, we move on to surgical options. Fortunately, there's been quite a big drive over the last sort of 10, 20 years to develop new, more effective and safer surgical options. We're actually involved in the development of a new device for implanting into the eye to treat glaucoma, which we hope is going to be sort of the most effective treatment currently available. It was designed specifically for the sort of severe refractory type of glaucoma we see here in South Africa, but it's still in early sort of stage clinical trials. So there's a lot of focus on the space because, as you said, unfortunately, there's still no silver bullet, a treatment that you can get and you know you'll be safe for life.
All right. But now let's talk about developing this particular disease. I mean, are there any very obvious telltale signs that you need to go get tested? I think that it's quite a powerful thing to ask. You know, there may be some people looking at their eyes in the mirror saying, oh my word, what's going on here? And stressing themselves out. So are there ways to actually see?
Well, that is the problem with glaucoma, is you're unaware of it. And the people who do have it, it stresses them out the whole time because you don't know if it's getting worse and they're obsessing about what is my pressure today and what is happening. Fortunately, it's a very slow, gradual deterioration. So it's not something that causes blindness overnight. It's generally over years unless it's a sort of severe acute form. So I think in general, people must just be aware of their vision, and if they are noticing changes, don't write it off as, oh, I'm just getting older, or no, it's just because of this or that. Go and get it checked out. Unfortunately, the eye is a very complex little organism, and you need to sort of get a proper assessment through your local optometrist or ophthalmologist or GP, depending on how severe your symptoms are, and they should be able to pick up any obvious pathology.
Yeah, I'm of an age. I've just done the whole prostate thing as my duty to other men.
Can't help you with that.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I was just wanting someone to hold my hand, dude. And he's sick of doing it for
And
me.
I'm also not signing up for the relationship advice, please. Yeah.
Is this
I know, once you're on the
I
couch,
hope you're getting
you can't
another
leave,
expert in here
buddy.
for that. 'Cause
I can't even see you out the peripheral anymore. How often should we get testing? Is there an age where we should go and just make sure that everything is okay?
So it's all a matter of sort of risk management. Ideally, everyone would be screened, every year, but that's just not feasible. I think once you know you have a specific risk factor, it's time to get screened, whether that risk factor is I have a family history, whether I'm over the age of 40 now, whether I kind of have diabetes, whether I'm on cortisone medication, or whether I've got any symptoms, So then you kind of, it makes more sense maybe to get checked out, because your risk is still very low, but once you start hitting some risk factors, then it's worth getting screened, yeah.
Just do it, man.
Yeah, it's so important. It's better to be proactive. But thank you so much, Dr. Damon McLuhan, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for
You've
having
been
me.
a wealth of knowledge. Please come back anytime. And it's World Glaucoma Week. And we are, in inverted commas, celebrating through giving you facts, giving you the information you require. And I'm going to say it again. Get proactive. Don't write it off as I'm just getting older. Go check things out at your local practitioner.